All you have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to you.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if this is your first time. If this is your first time, then this is going to be a bit odd, me saying that this is a bit of a reset button. So this week has been a bit of a tough week on BookTube for some of us. For me, it's just killed my reading. I've not read anything really this week, and my head has been full of thinking about Scott, and I've been stuff at work as well. But ultimately, I've been thinking about Scott at work, and it's just if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch my last two videos, but have a look in general about what's been happening a little bit, because yeah, we lost someone on BookTube, and there's a good friend of mine, and 3 days ago I put up a poem on here. 2 days ago I put up a more specific video about Scott, and I wanted to change the tone of the channel a little bit and just talk about reading in general and answer a question that was posed by Steve Donahue, which I thought was quite an interesting question, which I'll get to in a second. But also tomorrow there's going to be another part of this reset button, another different tone, another happy video, which is me and MJ chatting about our top 10 Western films for June on the Range. This was something that we filmed about a week ago, I think, before we heard about Scott. And so that's going to be a happy video that will be up tomorrow. But I wanted to put up another one that's lighter tone. I'm going to continually reference Scott as we go along in the next however many years I do this, and I'm still going to be reading horror books in May, and I'm still going to be reading science fiction in November, as if we're doing New Worlds November. I don't know if New Worlds November will continue, but I'm going to be reading science fiction in November in honor of Scott anyway. But Steve posed the question: how do you choose your next book? And he talked about mood reading in a way that sounds like he doesn't do mood reading, because he sort of said that people just randomly pick a book from their shelves. I don't think people randomly pick a book from their shelves. I think they literally think about what mood are they in, as in what kind of headspace are they in, what book fits where they are as far as what their thinking is. I think that's really what mood reading is. So you might have a specific TBR. Some people have a specific thing like reading certain weeks, and I know Ollie from Criminali likes to be quite specific on what he reads. But I think if you're a mood reader, you're looking at your books and thinking, well, what out of that stuff really fits where I am at the moment, you know, because all that stuff on the shelves is probably stuff they want to read at some point, but it's about what fits your mood. So what fits where you are at that point in your head. So that's kind of what I'm going to be exploring a little bit when I talk about these books that I'm going to be potentially reading as my next book. I'll quickly talk about what I have been reading. So this is what's been dominating my reading this week. And it's a very short book, but as you know, I've just said, I haven't really been able to read much. My head's been really full with stuff, which, again, look at the previous videos if you're not sure what that is. But this is for Junior on the Range. It's a very short book. It's a very good book as well. So it's not even that I'm not reading it because it's not good. It is really good. And I was really keen to read it because I read Shane. And when I found this, I thought, oh yeah, I'll read that. And it is really good. So I should be able to finish that today. I'm in a better headspace. I'm hoping I should be able to finish that today without too much distraction. And then choose a new book tomorrow. Also another thing that's helped this new mood I'm in is that it's Father's Day tomorrow. And I celebrate part of Father's Day today because I couldn't see my daughter tomorrow. So I was going to say that today I had a lovely day with my daughter. We went to the seafront, we went to the fun fair, went to the arcades and all that. And she bought me a really lovely graphic novel, actually, which I haven't got with me, but that was really cool. And tomorrow I'm going to see my son in Brighton. So I'm hoping that I might find some stuff in Snooper's Paradise, which is a great place for finding books. So I'm hoping, I bought about 8 books when I was there last time for my birthday. So I'm hoping I might find some other things there tomorrow. But either way, I'm going to have a lovely day with my son, which would be great. So, you know, new haircut, new day, Hawaiian Muppet shirt, new tone. So yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow as well. But anyway, all of that is referencing the fact I should be in a better place to finish that book today. It's really good. But previously I was reading this and I wasn't really feeling it. So I've read 3 chapters so far. And I actually put it down to start First Blood. So it's all right, but it's not written in a way that is really exciting. It's a bit bland the way it's written. So I think the author's voice for Spider Robinson is an attempt, I think, to be charismatic and cocky, but it doesn't always work for me. I think I can see a brain behind it. It feels a bit too deliberate to me, so I'm not sure. I was disappointed, to be fair, with the Callahan Cross Time Saloon books, and I've got a load of them, and I will finish them, but I don't think I'm a big Spider Robinson fan. But anyway, I tried that, and I will finish it, but it's not something I'm loving. And I'm reading that as part of my deep dive on Ray Bradbury. So you probably know that I'm doing every book I can by Ray Bradbury, and I've got loads and loads of stuff by him. I've got an entire shelf of Ray Bradbury stuff, and I'm at this point now. And talking about mood reading and talking about how you choose your next book, Fahrenheit 451 was actually next on the chronology of his stuff. So as far as his bibliography goes, that was the next one to read if I was reading chronologically. But I chose to read this one next because it fitted where I was, and like I thought it would work better for my brain at that point to read the stories, and also it fitted Horror Mayhem, actually, to be fair. But it's not just the book event that made me read this one first. I wanted to read this one first. So there's only like a year between them, I think, something like that, from when they were published. But it's interesting that I didn't go with Fahrenheit 451, even though I'm very keen to reread it. But I read these ones that I forgot about halfway through this. So that was all good. So Golden Apples of the Sun, I'm reading at the moment. I'm also reading a short story book by Kafka, and I'm reading a book on the Black Death for Historathon as well. So I am reading those as well, but they're just like slowly I'm just doing those slowly. So what might I choose next? Well, there's a whole range of things that are big books. Well, actually not big books really. There's nothing. Oh yeah, there's a couple of big books, but nothing. Most of them aren't that big. There's short story collections. There's graphic novels. There's non-fiction. There's fiction. So it is always about where I feel like my brain is sitting. You know, what fits how I am at that point. And if you read the wrong thing at the wrong time, you think you don't like it, and then you either decide you don't like it, or you go, oh, it's not right for me at the minute, and then you put it down for a bit and read it another time. So I think it's always good to try and check in with yourself, try and think about where you are at that point, and then read something that suits where you are. Not just read something you want to read, because it might be something you want to read in 2 months' time rather than then. It might not be the right time. So that's what I'm thinking about with the book event as well, because kind of once we get involved with the book event, and if I'm co-hosting an event, I definitely have to get involved, then you have to keep that up, and that might not suit where you are. So you've got to, juggle that, I think, a lot. So on the back of that, with the book events, June on the Range is happening, obviously. I've just talked about John Schaefer's book, First Blood, but there's also Book Trek, and I am keen to get involved in that, because I haven't done that yet this June, and June is the first month of the whole summer of the Wrath of Trek, which is really important. This was going to be my first Book Trek book, Yesterday's Sun by A.C. Crispin, so I could read that. Very good condition, actually. This one's awesome. So I could read that. But then I might read the Vulcan Academy Murders. Or I might read Doctor's Orders. Looks like a McCoy-centric one by Diane Duane. So those 3 are possibilities for Book Trek. And I might choose a Book Trek book as my next one. Don't know. But there's also this one. So my mate Joe from Book Buds, he was very excited to meet TJ Klune. And I've heard a lot about TJ Klune. I've heard a lot about the House in the Corellian Sea, but I'd never really thought of reading it. I was kind of seeing it, and in the back of my mind thinking, oh, yeah, I could read that, but never really taking it seriously. And then, because of my growing friendship with Joe, I thought, actually, I'm going to get it. And I got it, and it's there, and I could read it. I might love it. I might really love it, and I'm really curious. So that could be this month. I could read TJ Klune's House in the Corellian Sea. That could be a next book. But again, if I read the first bit and think, oh, it's not really right for me at the minute, I might put it down for a minute. Or I might read the first couple of, 30 pages. I usually judge where I'm sitting with the book after 30 pages. If I read 30 pages and go, oh my God, I can't put this down, and then absolutely love it, which I'm really hoping that'll happen, then that could be my next full-blown read. You may remember that I absolutely loved Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby, and this was the next book I bought by him, Blacktop Wasteland, but I haven't got to it yet. And I've been loving reading the crime stuff I've been reading, so it could be a thing. I've heard that this is just as good, so he could be a consistent writer. I hope so, because I cannot tell you how much I love Razorblade Tears, although I've tried. I did a video on it. But yeah, that could be a thing. Could read S.A. Cosby's Blacktop Wasteland. I am trying to concentrate on science fiction this summer, but, there's all these other things I'm trying to juggle as well. But that could be a thing. Equally, another crime one. I've just bought The Big Sleep. So that's classic crime that really had a huge impact on the genre in general. So I could read this. I just had an urge to buy it, so I just bought this like last week, I think it was. So it's only a recent purchase, but I'm very keen to read it. So that could be my next book. Again, it's about whether you look at it and you feel like that's the right book for you at that time. It's not random. And I've got hundreds of books I could read. I mean, I would argue that Steve is probably not watching this because he doesn't tend to watch my videos, but he might be watching it because I'm tagging him underneath because it comes from his prompt. Steve says that he's got thousands and thousands of books that he's read. He doesn't understand why you do the opposite. I personally would go the other way, and I have got hundreds of books that I haven't read, and to me that makes more sense than having thousands of books you have read, because why keep them if you've read them, So I've got a lot of books I've read, but I've got loads of books I haven't read, and to me that makes sense because they're here for me to read when I'm ready, So, you get something because you hear about it or you see it, and, what you find in the library is pretty random. So to me, it makes sense that you've got these books you can read. So this is the thing, that you pull out some things and you think, and I do actually think about what the immediate things I might want to read. So I'm not picking from, I'm not going up to my loft and having a look at what I want to read from that point of view. I am aware of some stuff that's immediately accessible, and if there's stuff in my loft that I feel like, I really want to read that soon, I'll bring it down and put it on one of these shelves so that I can use that as part of my potential reading that I'm going to do. So, if it is mood reading, I don't know if it is mood reading necessarily, but if it is mood reading, it's basing it on some books that you already think are the ones that are more immediate things you want to read, but then trying to check in with yourself, be self-aware. What is the best thing for you to read now, where you are in your head? Have you got work all over your head? Have you got stress? Have you got anxiety that means you can't read something too academic or serious? Or have you got a very free space at the moment where you're not worrying about too much and you can just delve into something a little more taxing? If you think about that, that's cool. A couple of nods to things that I would like to try soon. So Paul Tremblay, I haven't tried him yet, but this was the first book I bought by him, and I could end up jumping into this one. It's not necessarily my intention to read a load of horror over the summer, but I am. It's getting to the point where I've wanted to read this for so long that it's like, we'll just do it, And actually, I haven't got it with me, but that's true for Let the Right One In as well. But again, in a similar way, but this is science fiction, so it fits the remit of what I want to do this summer as well. The first Expanse book is amazing, and I wanted to read the next one ages ago. I've got the first 4, I think. Yeah, I've got the first 4. So I'd like to read this as well. But I mean, this is quite a strong possibility, to be fair. And I've recently bought Adrian Tchaikovsky's Alien Clay, and that definitely fits in the remit. This is very likely to be something I read either June or July. So I am very likely to read this. Big possibility. And that's a mix. When you say, when I'm trying to answer the question, how do you pick the books you're going to read next? This ticks several boxes. I really want to read more Adrian Tchaikovsky anyway. I've heard about the plot of this, and it seems like something I really love. I've only just bought it. It feels very fresh. It fits into what I want to do this summer, read more science fiction. There's loads of reasons why I'd like to read this now. So yeah, Alien Clay is a definite possibility. This is one that please comment below if you know this author, because this was a book that I'm very intrigued by. Definitely want to read something from it, but I don't know what to expect. And I bought this at a recent booktuber get-together in London. This is Salvina Campo, The Imposter and Other Stories. So again, I'm trying to celebrate short stories a lot on this channel at the moment. And this could be another thing where it really uses the short story form in a great way. And if it is, that's exactly what I want to find. So that'd be really cool. But I was just intrigued by what I read on the blurb on the website of the shop we went to. So I really don't know a lot about this. I'm going in blind in a lot of ways, but that's kind of exciting. So tell me if you've read this stuff by Silvina Ocampo or anything by them, and I will read something from this, I think, very soon, possibly before the end of the month. I would have started this book. So yeah, The Imposter and Other Stories, short stories. And another book I bought on that booktuber meetup was this one. So as we were all leaving, well, we'd already left. We already said goodbye to each other. And I was going to Waterloo to take the train from Waterloo to Portsmouth. And Foyles was still open. And I'll have a quick look up around Foyles, see if I find anything. And I found this, Why We Sing, Celebration of Song. So as a singer and a music teacher, I am clearly the right audience for this. And it might be something that I can relate to. I might either completely be inspired by it and then go, oh my God, this is amazing. And this is exactly what I've been thinking. Oh, I've got to share this with everybody. Or it could be something that I think, wow, I haven't thought about this before. I haven't thought about singing in that way. Or it might be like really educational and stuff that I don't realize that singing does for people and all that. Who knows? But it definitely seemed to be the right book for me to get. So I am very excited about getting this and reading this. So Why We Sing is likely to be a non-fiction one that I delve into. Non-fiction is a funny one for me because I tend to read a fiction book all the way through and then dip into non-fiction in smaller chunks. So I've got another couple of non-fiction things here. Like this is really good, but I've only been reading bits of it. So I would recommend this if you're interested in religion and the way we define God. I am interested, as an atheist, I'm interested. I think it's a fascinating subject, even if it's a little bit surreal at times, or something that I have to reconcile with my own sense of life and humanity and history and how we develop our beliefs and our understanding of the world and science and all that sort of stuff. It's always fascinating, I think, and this is a really good book. So if you've heard of this, God and Anatomy, then yeah, I think I'm going to end up not reading the whole thing before I have to give it back to the library. So I'll probably have to buy my own copy. But yeah, this is good. But I'm dipping into that. And there's another non-fiction one here that I want to start really soon. So don't know if you know how much you've seen this channel, how much you know this, but I'm a big Marx Brothers fan. I'm particularly a fan of Harpo Marx, and this is a book by his son, Bill Marx, called Son of Harpo Speaks. So it's a play on the fact that Harpo's autobiography is called Harpo Speaks. It's called Harpo Speaks because infamously he was a mute performer. So he wasn't mute in real life, but he decided to be a silent comedian in the Marx Brothers team. There was a very specific reason, which I've said on the channel before. I won't go into it now because it will extend the video forever, but it's quite interesting. But he was a very sweet man by the sound of it. And this is a book by his son, Bill Marx, Son of Harpo Speaks. So I do want to read that as well. Big purchase for me, this was. Really excited. So a couple of other things. I recently got the Saga 3 and 4 books from my son for my birthday. And I'm going to see him tomorrow in Brighton, so I might end up buying other things tomorrow. But 3 and 4 of Saga I want to read because I really enjoyed 1 and 2. I recently got this from Dave from Book Blabber for my birthday. And I am absolutely a big fan of Mad Magazine. So I have been reading this already, actually, thinking about it. But I'll probably finish it in the next few days, next week. It's a really cool history of Mad. So there is that. And one other thing I'll mention. This one is a book that I could get into this very shortly, very soon. And this will be a series of videos I'll do when I cover different time travel stories from this book. So I've done 2 time travel videos already, and I was going to do my top 10 short story books at some point before the end of the year, probably. But actually, I like the idea of just concentrating this for a bit. This is the Time Traveler's Almanac, the ultimate treasury of time travel short stories. And it's a really cool set of stories, some of which I've read already. But if I really delve into this properly, and there's 840 pages, there's loads and loads of stories. If I read this and go through the book, story like a few stories at a time, which someone suggested, I can't remember who it was, might be Leslie, I can't remember. Then this bit that might be book time with Pat. I can't remember. Someone suggested I do it that way, and that might be quite cool. So I might start that soon, so I can do that because I love time travel, and I'm very excited to get into this book. So there we are. Has that answered the question about how I choose my books? I think a lot of it is about really thinking about where does your brain sit, what suits where you are at that point. Is your head full of like stuff, work stuff, family stuff, commitments, obligations, a to-do list that you've got to do some stuff for, fill in forms or whatever that's doing your head in? Or is it quite free of that stuff and you can get into something that's a little bit more challenging or big or read lots of things at once? I don't know. But I think that's what it's about. It's about having those possibilities at hand first. So having a nice book collection is quite nice. So having a bunch of things at hand and then trying to figure out, well, what is it amongst all this stuff that is going to make me want to read? What's going to make me have this bit of free time and go, right, where's my glasses? Let's get a book. Let's start reading. Because if it was this and I'm going, oh, well, better read more of this, otherwise I won't finish it. That's not exactly what reading is about. It's not about, oh, I better read that. It's about either thinking, God, I want to read this, I want to finish it because it's brilliant, or can't wait to get to this because it's going to be brilliant. It should be a positive thing. So if you read things for obligatory reasons or because you feel that you have to, that's going to kill your reading time. It's going to kill your reading enthusiasm. So I think that's an important thing to remember as well. But yeah, choosing your book is about what's right at that time, I think. And having a bunch of books to choose from is the key to that, I think. So don't be afraid to collect books. Don't be afraid to have more books than you need so that you can choose the right books that suit your mood. That's what I think. So thanks a lot for watching. Stay strong, stay positive, stay curious. And one last time, huge hugs and love to Becky. Thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Paint me a picture of what it's like to be you.